Here's your word for the day from Calvary in Lake Havasu. Visit us on the web at calvaryaz.com.
Hey guys, my name is Kris and I'm the Parker Students Coordinator. Today we're going to go over Mark chapter 14 verses 53 through 65. I'm going to read it right from my Bible, so follow along with me. They took Jesus to the high priest's home where the leading priests, the elders, and the teachers of religious law had gathered. Meanwhile, Peter followed him at a distance, went right into the high priest's courtyard. There he sat with the guards, warming himself by the fire. Inside, the leading priests and the entire high council were trying to find evidence against Jesus so they could put him to death, but they couldn't find any. Many false witnesses spoke against him, but they contradicted each other. Finally, some men stood up and gave this false testimony. We heard him say, "I will destroy this temple made with human hands, and in 3 days I will build another made without human hands." But even then, they didn't get their story straight. Then the high priest stood up before the others and asked Jesus, "Well, aren't you going to answer these charges? What do you have to say for yourself?" But Jesus was silent and made no reply. Then the high priest asked him, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?" Jesus said, "I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated in the place of power at God's right hand and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothing to show his horror and said, "Why do we need other witnesses? You have all heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict?" "Guilty," they all cried. "He deserves to die." Then some of them began to spit at him, and they blindfolded him and beat him with their fists. "Prophesy to us," they jeered, and the guards slapped him as they took him away. So Jesus was put on trial right after he was betrayed and arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane. You know, you'd think because Jesus is God that he would defend himself, maybe escape, seek revenge, or in some miraculous way reveal who he really was to the people who put him on trial. You would think that. But that's not who Jesus is, and that's not the kind of God we serve. He humbly and gracefully accepted what was before him. He simply said who he was and accepted his path as the Messiah. Jesus knew he needed to go through all of those horrible things in order to save all of humanity from their sins. He knew that. And he was ready to face it like the kind, loving God he is. He didn't feel the need to prove himself and to fight for his own justice. Jesus knew that the Father would take care of that, and that justice for all would be found through his sacrifice on the cross. Jesus died for everyone's sins, including those who spit on him, falsely accused him, and persecuted him. If Jesus can handle such terrible circumstances and people with such grace and love, so can we. So this week, try to emulate Jesus in whatever trial you're facing today, whether that's a trial at work, with family, temptation, whatever it is. Let the righteousness of God take care of it and let it go to God. Handle your trials with the same attitude Jesus had. Know who you are in Christ and reflect the character of Christ in your trials. Have a great day. Bye.